Okay. Hello. My name is Sara Violante, and I am a shamanic practitioner living in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And welcome to my new little series where I am going to go through the things that I am reading, watching, or listening to. I was originally going to keep it to just books, but the truth is that I saw this amazing podcast with Julia Mossbridge the other day. And I'm going to have to do a video on it because I just loved it so much. She was on a particular podcast that surprised me to see her on. Um, but yeah, it was very exciting. So I'm going to expand it a little bit past books. But for this inaugural recording in this series, I am going to actually start with my own book, Shamanism for the Rest of Us. And what I thought I would do is try and keep this pretty short, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Let's see how fast I can go. And I'm going to give you a little disclaimer right now. I am dog sitting, so you won't see my two because they're out with their little play group today. And this other dog, because she doesn't, one of the other dogs and her don't get along in this little play group, she's staying home with her auntie. And I gave her a bone so she wouldn't be sad, or a little chewy. It's like a yak chew kind of thing. And it's very crunchy in here. So I'm sorry if you can hear that. I'm going to remind you that I don't know how to video edit. So how this gets recorded is how it's going to go out. And that's probably going to be for the duration. So to the book, I'm going to just answer the questions that I usually get about the book and hopefully just skate through them real quick. So what inspired me to write it? Well, first and foremost, it was actually driven by spirit. Um, it was driven by spirit, and they really nagged me to write the book. And I find writing to be very scary because back in the day, I took one writing class called expository writing, and I was sort of shocked to find out how much you reveal about yourself. So I feel it to be very, like you really open a window about yourself. And I'm a really kind of shy person. And I'm very introverted and I don't really love talking about myself. In fact, it makes my skin crawl a little. So I'm sorry to say. Um, Here we are. And I'm going to talk about myself for a little bit in this book that I wrote. So please have patience with my discomfort. Bye. Um, anyway, so what inspired me to write the book? So, driven by spirit, they asked for it. They wanted me to really write this, and I considered that and understood what was driving them to ask me to do it. Because I do actually have a personal drive that is in line with what they would like to see me do. And so I can talk about that personal drive because it's driven by a past life. One of the things I don't actually talk about in this book that I just wrote, because it's an introduction. It's about people who are brand new to it. And there's so much that I don't touch on in here because it's just for beginners. Um, but you can actually tap into your past lives, and it really helps you understand things about yourself that are driving you. And one of the things that are driving me is, people that are really uncomfortable with spiritual practices, especially non-mainstream ones, but also non-mainstream ones, um, but long for spiritual connection, or people like myself who just know. We know there is more than the materialism that we see before us here that is easily sensed by those five senses that most of us have. And we just know there's something more there. And we are very curious. And I want folks like me um, to connect and not be cut off from something that's so powerful and also simultaneously so easily accessible. And I say that honestly. I do believe that we all have this ability. We've just forgotten how to tap into it. There's nothing special about my wiring. It's just something that you can tap into and develop and flex. So yeah, are some people better at it than others? Yeah, but it doesn't, if you go out for a run, some people might be faster than you, and it doesn't mean you can't run, you know? So it's, also just about those people who are struggling to connect, to show an alternative way to practice. So, who is, this leads us into the next question, like, who's my intended audience with this book? Who did I write this book for? Well, folks like myself who aren't comfortable with, woo-woo things, um, yet know or sense or have an inkling that there's more to life than just the materialism. We've talked about that. I just said it. But also, maybe you've tried shamanic journeying before and it didn't feel like you could do it. Maybe you felt like, oh, I'm not very visual. You don't have to be. Um, Maybe you feel like it didn't work, or the class itself was so weird and uncomfortable that you were like, oh, not for me. I got to do something else. Um, and so what I really want to do is make you look at it again if you have tried it before and you feel like it didn't work for you. Or maybe you've heard a little bit about it, but you don't really understand it, or it seems weird, but you have a curiosity. Well, this is a new perspective on it in a lot of ways. And I give some tips and tricks for how to get in there. And so this will bring us to the next question. I'm trying to skate through now because I think I'm already over time. But what makes me qualified to write about this subject? Well, it's August 2026 as I record this. And I've been practicing shamanism and journey meditation for the past 26 years now. And in addition to my personal practice, I've gone through a formal shamanic practitioner program. I've been mentored by a respected energy healer. I've gone through a formal teacher training program. I've been mentored by a respected energy healer. I've obtained Reiki Master certification. I've participated in a Vision Quest experience. I've studied with some truly gifted and well-respected teachers who've blazed a path before me. And I've been working with clients and have been teaching and lecturing regarding shamanic practices for the past 16 years. So this is an amalgam of my experiences over the past close to 27 years now as we record this. And I approach my practice and teaching and showing people how to connect in a way that I think is really relatable for the majority of Western culture and perhaps beyond. Um, so what was the hardest part of this book to write? I will be perfectly honest again, which I'm going to do throughout this. I've just a verbal tick of mine, but probably the chapter on death. The chapter on death, and if you've read the book at all, I do actually talk about how I almost forgot to include a chapter on death in this book, which is actually crazy, especially since I've done so much more around death, dying, and elderhood within my practice that it's actually kind of shocking. But I think because of its complexity, I think subconsciously I was like, not writing that, but I did take what I think is a decent stab at it. But this is spoiler alert. Contrary to what you may have been told or shown by others, it's very clear to me that there's not one way that it works. It's a bit of a smorgasbord. So after we die, there's a lot of scenarios out there. And so I do attempt to offer up a good chunk of what I've been shown happens to help people, understand and maybe uh, look at it a little differently than they have been. Yeah. And demystify, maybe remove some of the fear also. What do I hope people will get out of reading the book? Ultimately, I want people to be led to a true connection to the spiritual realm, whether that's directly through shamanic journeying after reading this book, which would be, fantastic. But if this is a step towards finding the thing, the method or process or activity or the awakening that will lead you to that or lead them to that, then that's good for me as well. I want you to just take another look and really truly understand and believe that um, you can connect. You just have to a little dedication. Yeah, and some solid tips and tricks that I offer through here and some perspective and insight on how you can approach things. It's for anyone who's struggling in wellness, in mind, body, and spirit, or mind, body, and spirit. Um, and for the absolute joy of meeting your spiritual allies, embracing your own personal power, for getting unstuck, and for realizing how much love, compassion, healing, wisdom is truly available to you through your spirit allies. It is really something. And so I just don't want you to be cut off from that. So I hope you'll give it a try. Again, I have it out in print book. I have it out on ebook. I have it out also as an audio book, recorded in my own voice. So if my own voice isn't making you crazy, maybe you want to check out the audio book. Dog crunching. And so thank you for your time. I am going to do a few more as the books that I have um, like a reference section at the back of the book that some things I can recommend. And I also have some things on my website, saraviolante.com. Also shamanicsara.com will redirect to my website. There's no H on the end of my first name. So I think I'm way over the time that I was hoping to be, but I got kind of excited. And again, I can't edit. So it is what it is. I'm going to post it, whatever, dog chomping and all. And thank you so much for listening. And I hope you'll tune into the next one. Thanks.